Hello everyone and welcome to my channel Y&R Trends. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Noah Newman found himself staring into the abyss, which included Sienna Bacall's face, shattering the calm buzz of Genoa City's night. It started off as a hushed admission, a shaky secret shrouded in lust and despair. But Noah's life would never be the same after what Sienna told him that evening. Her voice trembled with need and anger as she muttered, "Kill him." The words hung in the air like poison. "Kill Matt, and I'll marry you." Noah's heart raced as though it may burst through his chest. He believed he had misheard her. However, Sienna's gloomy, haunted gaze conveyed a different message. Every word she said had meaning. What had started out as a tragic love story had suddenly turned into a lethal game where love had a blood price. Noah had always sensed that underlying Sienna's delicate beauty was something broken. Sienna had been hovering, protective, scared, and oddly possessive, since the night of his accident, when he woke up bandaged and disoriented. However, the terrible reality had always been boiling beneath the surface. Sienna was terrified of Matt, not of Noah. The man who used to be her spouse. The man who was supposed to be dead. Everyone believed that Mitch Bacall had passed away. In actuality, though, he had been hidden in plain sight. Sienna's terror of him had now developed into something even more sinister, an obsession with eradicating him entirely. She sobbed when Noah confronted her about the odd texts and late-night calls. She clutched his arm with shaking fingers and said, "You don't understand. Everything is known to Matt. He is aware of us." Regarding what transpired in the canyon that evening, Noah froze. In his imagination he could still see the collision, the blood, the shattered glass, the screaming tires. All of a sudden everything made sense. Sienna wasn't only afraid. She was in dire need. "I'll lose everything if he tells anyone," she cried. "We'll lose everything." Then Noah heard the words that sent shivers down his spine. "Kill him, Noah. Make him go away, and I'll marry you." Noah first chuckled, but it was a tense, hollow laugh that stopped short of his eyes. "You're kidding, Sienna. Tell me you're kidding," she said, but her expression remained fixed. She didn't take anything back, even though her lips quivered and tears welled up in her eyes. "I can no longer live this way. You promised to help me in any way you could." At the final word, her voice broke, and Noah's whole world turned upside down. "Prove it." The lady he loved and the moral boundary he had vowed never to breach were at odds with each other. Sienna wasn't finished, though. Noah's life descended into turmoil as she reached up, put her lips to his ear, and murmured the last dagger. "Do it, or I'm gone forever." Food tasted like dust, sleep became unfamiliar, and every sound, a phone ringing, a door creaking, felt like a warning. Sharon had a feeling her son wasn't quite right. One morning at Crimson Lights she whispered, "You've been distant. Are you certain you're all right?" Noah made an effort to smile, but it fell short of his eyes. "Yes, Mom." He was simply exhausted, but on the inside his thoughts were destroying him. His lover had just asked him to kill someone, but he couldn't tell Sharon. He couldn't let Nick know that he was thinking about it. Because deep down there was a wounded, evil part of him that wanted to end Sienna's suffering at any cost. Under the pretense of protection, Sienna started feeding him information, testing him and controlling him. She showed him old pictures of Matt, bruised from their altercations, and whispered to him about the time she was afraid to close her eyes. "Noah, he hurt me," she murmured in a shattered voice. "He'll do it again if he finds me." As her tears tightened Noah's chest, he uttered the words that would ultimately determine his fate. "I'll make sure he never hurts you again." Sienna looked up, her face contorted with relief and fear. "Then demonstrate it," she said. "Prove you love me enough to end it." Nick Newman was working on a completely different puzzle across town. He suspected foul play in Noah's car accident and discovered fresh evidence linking Matt Clark to Mitch Bacall's identity theft. "There is something about Mitch that doesn't add up," he said to Sharon. Sharon's blood raced cold. "I think he's been targeting Noah from the start." "Nick, do you really believe that Noah and Sienna are no longer in contact?" However, Nick had previously noticed the warning signals, such as the tightness in Noah's eyes and the covert phone conversations. He was afraid that a woman who could do anything was manipulating his son. It was pouring rain the night it all came to a head. With a shaky voice, Sienna contacted Noah. He is present. Without hesitation, Noah said. He found me. With his heart hammering and his mind racing, he grabbed his coat and dashed into the rain. He noticed Sienna standing in the doorway of the deserted lake house when he got there. She was pale, wet, and had big eyes. She muttered, "He's inside. He promised to take me back," Noah remarked as he entered the dimly lit home, the floors creaking like a countdown. Then, depending on whatever lie you choose to accept, he was either Mitch Bacall or Matt Clark. Smirking, Matt slowly turned. "I wanted to know when you would arrive. Did she tell you everything?" Noah clenched his fists. He growled, "You ruined her life." Matt let out a sarcastic, hollow laugh. "Her existence? You don't know who she is, kid. She has been deceiving you." Noah's heart halted. "Just like she played me." "You're lying," I said, but Matt just grinned more. "Ask her about the cash. Regarding the files she pilfered." Noah turned to Sienna, his face pale, and the room crackled with tension as he explained why she needed me dead before you ever came along. "What is he discussing?" Her quiet said everything. The reality became clear in that eerie silence. Sienna was terrified of more than just Matt. She feared being discovered. Before pretending to be dead, Sienna had embezzled from Mitch's business, as demonstrated by the stolen data Matt had alluded to. She had tricked Noah into serving as her shield and weapon. With tears running down her cheeks, she muttered, "It wasn't supposed to happen like this. I cherished you." "I still do," she said, but Noah's rage and grief overpowered her. "You took advantage of me," he muttered, his voice shaking. "You led me to believe." Matt moved in closer, making fun of her tears. Everything blew up when she said, "She doesn't love anyone but herself." Years of heartache, betrayal, and emotional upheaval culminated in a single, insane moment when Noah snapped. Leaping forward, he tackled Matt to the ground. A revolver clattered to the ground as the two men fought, their fists flying. "Noah, stop!" yelled Sienna. One gunshot reverberated throughout the home, but it was too late. There was silence for a minute. Then the air was heavy with the scent of gunpowder. Matt was bleeding but still alive as he lay on the ground after the smoke cleared. With the rifle shaking in his hands and a horrified expression on his face, Noah stood motionless. Beside him, Sienna fell to the ground, crying furiously. "You were meant to murder him." She let out a scream. "You assured me." However, Noah was having trouble breathing. His hands trembled as he lowered the weapon, realization sweeping over him like a wave. I didn't mean to. It wasn't love. This was insanity." Sienna had left by the time the police showed up. Noah was left to deal with the fallout on his own after she disappeared into the storm. With pallid expressions, Sharon and Nick hurried to the station upon hearing the news. Noah sobbed and murmured, "I did it for her." Nick's jaw tightened, anger and sadness battling in his eyes as he continued. "She said she'd marry me if he was gone." "She deceived you," he uttered in a trembling voice. Sharon discreetly sobbed as she held her son's hand, saying, "She turned you into something you're not. Noah, you're not a murderer. You were simply in love with the wrong person." The truth about Sienna's perverse history emerged as the investigation progressed. Everything, even Matt's demise and Noah's tragedy, had been planned by her. The proposal had been a planned attempt to permanently destroy her secrets. Genoa City was taken aback. The once glamorous woman who claimed to be a victim was now revealed to be a skilled manipulator who could use love as a weapon. The headlines read, "Murder for Love?" The dark marriage pact of Sienna Bacall revealed, however. For Noah, no title could adequately convey the agony consuming his spirit. He sat by himself in his cage, gazing at the ring Sienna had promised him, which now seemed like a curse. He muttered into the quiet, "I did it for you." Sharon came to see him every day, holding his hand through the glass and telling him that one day he would forgive himself. "And you left me anyway." However, Noah was unable to forget Sienna's final words before she vanished into the rain. "You said you'd do anything for me. You now understand the true cost of love," Nick said, promising to track down Sienna and hold her accountable for her actions. He snarled, "She used my son as a pawn in her sick game." However, the truth grew darker the further he dug. In addition to being Sienna's spouse, Matt was involved in a criminal network that extended well beyond Genoa City. Furthermore, the stolen documents Sienna had been concealing could be the key to a scheme involving years of dishonesty, money laundering, and identities. Ultimately, Sienna's sinister suggestion was about control, power, and obsession more than just murdering a man. She wanted Noah to destroy the one person who could expose her in order to demonstrate his loyalty. Instead, she destroyed him in the process. Genoa City would never forget the night that a marriage vow evolved into a deal with death, turning love into blood. Now that rumors of Sienna's potential homecoming are circulating around the community, everyone is wondering if she will return for Noah. Or will she strike once more, destroying another life and shattering another heart? Because love is never pure in Sienna Bacall's world. It's a weapon and someone always loses out. Regarding Noah Newman, his once loving eyes now have the troubled expression of a man who discovered too late that some promises may be fatal. Sienna's terrifying words, "I'll only love you if he's dead," still reverberate in his dreams despite the fact that he loved her enough to ruin everything. It was a perverse tale of love, a spooky secret revealed, and a young man who, in exchange for murder, swapped his innocence for obsession because one woman had promised him eternity. Genoa City was in shock following Sienna Bacall's ominous proposal. The rumors that Noah Newman, the heir to the Newman line, had almost killed a man out of love spread like wildfire. Those closest to Noah understood the truth was far deeper, but to those who didn't know the whole story, it seemed like the actions of a crazed romantic. Not only had he fallen in love with the wrong lady, but she had also taken control of him. "Kill him and I'll marry you," Noah muttered as he sat bent over the chilly metal table in the Genoa City Police Department's tiny interrogation room, his hands shaking. Now, every word she had ever said and every tear she had ever wept played on repeat in his memory like a curse. Chance Chancellor sat across from him, his demeanor halfway between compassionate and professional. Noah's voice broke as Chance whispered, "Noah, we need to understand exactly what happened that night. I didn't want for things to go that bad. I simply wanted it to end." His eyes were hollow as he stopped, saying, "I wanted her to stop being afraid. She informed me that Matt would murder her." Chance pushed forward, saying, "That she would be the next if I didn't do something. And if you did that, she would marry you." Noah's throat constricted as he forcefully swallowed. Chance shuddered when he heard her say, "She said it was the only way we could be free." This was psychological warfare, not only manipulation. Love had been weaponized by Sienna Bacall. Sharon was sitting in the cottage's living room across town, holding a picture of her son. With tears streaming down her face, she muttered to Nick, "He's not a monster. He has experienced terrible things." Nick strode close to the glass, his anger showing in every step. "Sienna did this to him. He was brainwashed by her. I ought to have put an end to it." He looked to Sharon, his eyes grim. "I knew that woman was dangerous from the moment she came into his life. She's out there somewhere, and I swear, Sharon, I'm going to find her." The police kept looking into Sienna's past while Nick embarked on his own quest to find her. Chance quickly discovered a number of false identities, with Sienna Bacall being the most recent in a lengthy sequence. She had previously been known as Marla Devane in Chicago, Isabel Crane in New York, and Sarah Mitchell in Los Angeles. Every name had its own set of victims, and every tale concluded with a scandal or unexplained disappearance. Unquestionably, Sienna had a history of infiltrating lives, seducing influential men, and destroying them from the inside out. Nevertheless, Noah hesitated to accept that she was indeed wicked. Noah held on to the memories of the woman who had once sobbed in his arms despite the mounting evidence, which included stolen money, fake documents, and false death certificates. He said to Chance, she was afraid. She wasn't the same person. But he couldn't get rid of the nagging notion that Sienna might have been deceiving him from the beginning. Matt made her this way. Matt Clark, the guy who had nearly perished at Noah's hands, was recuperating in a hospital room while being watched over by cops. His voice was feeble and his face was pallid, but his mind remained sharp. Matt smiled slyly and bitterly as Nick came to see him in the hopes of finding answers. "Newman, do you want the truth? You ought to express gratitude to me." Nick scowled. "I tried to stop her before she killed your son." "What are you discussing?" Matt grinned more broadly. "Sienna is more than simply a scammer. She is a part of something greater. Do you believe I simply happened to go into Genoa City? Nick's blood raced cold. She wanted me gone because I knew too much. Bigger, what do you mean? Matt leaned in, his eyes shining. She is connected to an identity ring that involves money laundering through fictitious businesses, stolen insurance payouts, and fictitious deaths. Because your son had access to Newman Media systems, she needed him. Nick, he wasn't her lover. That realization altered everything. He was her next target. Nick's heart tightened as he realized that Sienna and Noah might have been a long-term scammer. One issue, though, was that Noah didn't think it was true. Noah lost it when Nick confronted him. Dad, stop it. I know her better than you do. She is not a criminal. The only person who has ever understood me is her. Sharon attempted to soothe him, but she had never seen anything like the fury in Noah's eyes. He couldn't decide between the family's attempts to save him and the woman he loved. Later that evening, by himself in his detention cell, Noah mentally repeated everything that had happened, including the kisses, the promises, and the murmurs. He was plagued by the words, "Do it, or I'm gone forever." Then another memory, which he had buried deep, came to the surface like a harsh echo. Sienna had given him a little envelope the evening before the collision. He had assumed it was a love letter when she had whispered, "If anything happens to me, you'll know what to do." He wasn't so sure now, though. Sharon discovered that exact envelope among Noah's belongings the following morning. One USB drive with the label, "If I disappear," was inside. Chance had it examined, and what they discovered caused the GCPD to go silent. A number of encrypted information, including financial records, fake identities, and a terrifying video message, were on the drive. Sienna was seated in front of the camera, her face serene and icy. "I'm already gone if you're watching this," she said. Matt wasn't who you believed him to be. He was collaborating with a powerful person at Newman Media. She stopped, then gave a slight smile. "I did what I had to do to protect myself. And Noah. People do horrible things because of love." It was hard to know if she was being honest or deceiving everyone once more. "Don't judge me for surviving." Her tone, however, was what really caught my attention. It was one of control rather than fear. She seemed to know just how everything would turn out. When Sharon saw the video, she started crying while Nick just balled his fists. He whispered, "She's still pulling the strings. Even from the shadows." As the days stretched into weeks, Genoa City was alive with rumors. There were rumors that Sienna had been seen in Miami, Chicago, and perhaps Buenos Aires. However, all of the leads were unsuccessful. She seemed to have disappeared off the face of the planet. Sharon became frightened as odd things started to happen around Noah, such as music boxes playing her favorite song, letters with no return address, and a solitary white rose placed on his hospital bed with a note that said, "Forever means forever." One evening she told Nick, "She's still watching him."